Hey everyone, I am currently in the Kia EV9 and I just wanted to start a series comparing Tesla to Kia driving experience, software experience, you name it. And I thought I'd split this up rather than make one longer video. And today I want to specifically talk about route planning between the two cars. So let's get into it and see what we're up against in this battle of Kia versus Tesla. Okay, so maybe battle was too strong a choice of a word, but you get the point. I decided I'm going to go to the Empire State Building from Cape Cod, which is going to guarantee I have at least one charging stop. And even more so because I'm at 40% battery. Either way, I think I probably have to stop once anyway. Definitely not going to make it on one charge. So let's plug this in. The car is going to give me a option for fastest and economical, and it also tells you, would you like to stop at a charging station? Yeah, I think so. So we're going to hit yes. And it's going to calculate here. And if I take the fastest route, it says 6 hours and 16 minutes. So let's see what we're up against here. Also, side note, I will show this in a second. I had this input wrong. In the settings for the EV menu, you need to make sure that you set your max DC charge limit to 80%. If you're doing road trips, that's what I would recommend doing. If you set it to 100%, it's going to base the entire navigation off of this. And it's actually defaulted to 100% when I got the car. So if you want to use the onboard navigation with your Kia, make sure you change that to 80%. Otherwise, you're going to be spending an hour at a fast charger, which is insane. So because I'm starting with such low state of charge, ideally I would start with 100%. I would only have to stop, I would guess, one time. It's showing there's 2 DC fast charging stops. I don't really like this 41% arrival. Again, super conservative from the Kia navigation. That's kind of crazy. Now, granted, I might not be able to make it to the second one on one state of charge, but it's got to be a better option. So we're going to hit, now can I get any information from this? Let's see here. Real-time information may differ than what's found in the actual station. Okay, that's good. So it's kind of cool that I do get some information from Electrify America. It's showing the kilowatt output. It's showing that there's charging stations in use, which is all good stuff. You could go into the Electrify America app and get that information. But that's good to know that the Kia is integrated with EA to give you that information. I think that's a big plus. I wasn't aware that it would have that option when I got the car. So we're gonna hit start guidance here. Guidance will start now in 600. And there we go. It's gonna kind of do our navigation, and this is what you're gonna be using when you're doing Kia navigation, doing road trips. Now let me pop out here. I'm going to go into Apple CarPlay because this is something else I considered doing is, well, maybe I want to use Apple Maps, right, to do my navigation. Here's the issue. This has 0 charging information. The Mustang Mach-E, and I believe there's one other vehicle, I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, has Apple Maps integration with EV charging. So it'll know your state of arrival, your state of charge when you arrive at a charging station. And you can actually use Apple Maps, or I think even Google Maps, if you have a Ford vehicle, to do that, which I think is pretty cool. Because I much prefer the interface of Apple Maps and Google Maps to the Kia onboard navigation. The other thing I might use is also using the Electrify America app, which actually ain't too bad if it loads here. You could look up charging stations. You can get information about charging stations. You can view like what your plans are. I mean, I have 1,000 kilowatt hours from getting my Kia, which is pretty sweet. That's the station I'm probably most likely going to use. Just having difficulty connecting here, but maybe it's something to do my Wi-Fi in my house, which I'm nearby. But anyway, you could use this. Again, it's gonna route you out of it into Apple Maps when you do Electrify America. So my gut and what I'm probably going to do, until I get like an OBD dongle, I can integrate a better route planner. That's another option on here. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna be able to view the CarPlay app because I don't have premium service, but I think you could pay $50 a month and get CarPlay access. So that's something you could do. But anyway, it seems like if I'm going to be doing a road trip, I'm going to be using the Kia onboard navigation. I get updates from the station itself as to how many chargers are in use, what the kilowatt output is, all good information that I need to know. So let's hop over into the Tesla and see what the experience is like over there. Okay, so we're here in the Tesla. I threw in the Empire State Building, same address, just to see what's going on in terms of the routing for this. And it's very interesting. Let's see if it recalculates. Okay, not. So, it did. Okay. I'll show you what happened in a second. So originally it was routing me to Richmond, Rhode Island, and 4% arrival. I was going to say, wow, that's very, very liberal. But then it rerouted me, and it's going to have me stop at 2 superchargers. Why is that? I am only at 70% battery. Again, I would be leaving with 100%. It's going to change this a little bit, but just so you can get, a taste of what the experience is like. So main difference, Kia and Tesla. Tesla is obviously heavily integrated with their own charging network. And there are way more options if I just plug in here. I mean, these are all superchargers, right? It's just the biggest network in the world, essentially, for charging. And everything is very much integrated with the software, and it's a super easy experience, I would say, especially if you're a first-time EV owner. So my car is having me stop twice in order to get there with 12%. It's going to have me stop in Seekonk and then also in Connecticut. Now, what I usually do is I would actually, there's a couple things you could do. I'm going to zoom out here. If I know where I'm going, I would rather route to a charge stop, which I think I can make. I probably won't be able to make that one with my current state of charge, but what we can do is I'll do end trip here. I'm going to pop out here, load up the charging stations. And let's say maybe I can make it to this one. Let's see, which one is this? This is Richmond. Okay. So this was the original one I want me to route to. And by doing this, let's see what it puts me at in terms of the arrival. So, 4% arrival. And it just blinked and said, stay under 80 miles an hour in order to make it. So this is what I would choose to do because I love to roll in at 4% battery. I don't know if you have this real capability in the Kia. What you could do similarly, it's more annoying, I think, in the software, is to just route to the charger. And it requires doing a little more research ahead of time. The Tesla doesn't really make me do any more work. I can kind of just easily bop out of the nav and select another charger if that's what I want to go to. But the integration with the supercharger network is the real difference here. I mean, you get all the information about the charger, you get busy times, you get photos of the area, amenities. I can click one of these icons that shows me place to get coffee, food, restroom, that sort of thing. So that's really the real difference between the two. Just the integration and the number of charging stations that are available to you. Okay, back at the EV9. So one thing I did when I set this car up is I made this special star button, the favorites button, my EV information. So on this page, and I'm going to go into the settings in a second, I can manually start battery preconditioning by hitting activate. This is something you could do on a road trip as you're approaching the charger. Start battery preconditioning maybe 30 minutes out. I mean, I feel like that's typically what my Tesla will do when it's preconditioning automatically. Now, if I go into the settings for this, and actually it's a good segue, charging limit for your DC charger. If this is the first time you got maybe an EV6 or EV9, make sure you set this to 80% because it defaulted to 100. And I think if this is your first EV experience, you're gonna think, oh, I'm gonna charge to 100%. You're gonna stick at that charger for probably an extra 25 minutes. It doesn't really make the road trip experience good at all, even though this car has fantastic fast charging. So make sure you set that to 80%. Now, the other thing I want to do, let's see if I can find information about the battery preconditioning. No, actually, I want to set that back down to 60% anyway. Where was that info? Maybe in settings? Okay, here it is. So, battery preconditioning, here's the activate button again. You can set a fast charging station as destination and manually operate the function. So if you set the fast charging station as your destination, it'll battery precondition automatically. Although I've been told maybe it doesn't work below 20%. I could be wrong. Maybe that's changed in the latest software, but that is the situation now. So you can manually do it. Again, it's something extra you have to perhaps remember to do, unless you're navigating there, and I don't think it really matters. But I'd be curious if I take like a proper road trip in this car, see what the experience is like with that automatic battery preconditioning, and see if I can still precondition the battery below 20%. That's something I'm going to figure out. So that's the video. I don't want to go into more depth, really. I'll probably make another video, maybe discussing some of these topics again and also doing some more comparisons between the two. My big takeaway, if this is your first electric vehicle, being the Kia, I think it has some disadvantages in the way that the road tripping and route planning works. If Tesla's your first vehicle, I think it's super easy to use, very intuitive. There's not as many things to mess with, as opposed to like the settings and whatnot within the EV9. I know like when you step into a Tesla for the first time, all of that route planning, all of the road tripping experience is going to be good. You're not going to be dealing with broken chargers. You're not going to be dealing with showing up and maybe, the integration between Electrify America and the cars lagging by 20 minutes. Who knows? You have to find that out. I know how accurate the Tesla system is when determining how many cars are plugged in. Oh, this stall's not working, Other advantage, most of these EA stations maybe only have 4 plugs. I would say the average Tesla supercharger has a dozen. So that's another thing to think about. And also, you're going to have all these CCS vehicles competing for the same Electrify America chargers or ChargePoint, or wherever it may be, because there's far less of them than Tesla network. So that'll soon change when Tesla opens up to other manufacturers. I think it will be easier in the future, especially once this car gets an NACS plug. I think that'll help a lot. But I have to say, I'm actually impressed with the route planning on here. I expected it to be far worse. I was expecting to use lots of third-party apps, but I think I'm just going to use the Kia onboard route planning. It seems to be getting good information from the chargers, and we'll see what my first road trip experience is like when I do something that requires, fast charging. The other advantage I would say, which I didn't really talk about, is, my Model S over there is a 2017. It is nowhere near as fast as this car when it comes to charging. I will spend far less time. Granted, I can find a charger on a road trip with this car than that one, because this is literally double the charge speed. And I think the EGMP cars in general are much faster than Tesla when it comes to charging. Granted, you could find a charger. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed the vehicle. Happy charging, everyone. And looking forward to making some more comparison videos between Kia and Tesla. Take care.